Well, let's talk about CompTIA Data Plus and why we're even doing this thing. CompTIA Data Plus is really important because, well, we really are seeing kind of the democratization of data. That's a big phrase, and it simply means that data has become available to so many organizations that where it wasn't as available even 5 years ago. And this means that we need more workers to understand the value of data, to understand the data life cycle. This means where to collect the data, how to go about manipulating it, and how you can tease out accurate, truthful narratives out of that morass of random data. So data analysts are the people who can do this. And this is not just an IT cert. In fact, it's really not an IT cert. There are intersections, but data is something that is found for marketers, for example, researchers, today's workers, anybody who is client facing and has to understand what the client is doing. Increasingly, we all become data crunchers. And we've been doing this in our own personal lives for years. How many of us go to Google and search for stuff? In a sense, that makes you the beginning of a data worker. But what we decided is that we found out that because data is everywhere, it doesn't mean that there are workers that know what to do with it. And so we basically went out and asked thousands of subject matter experts who work with data every day. Some of them are in IT, most of them not. And we asked them what is important to understand. And so they told us basically what is the value in the data life cycle, in the data supply chain. And they said, here are the things that data workers need to know, what data analysts need to know. And so we talked to people from, let's say cars.com, for example, PayPal, other organizations. And we basically asked them, what is important for somebody to know how to go about finding accurate narratives, to find out strategic information out of all of this data? And they told us. And so with Data Plus, it's basically a set of skills that allows today's worker to find additional value in the marketplace. We also made sure that as we focused on Data Plus, we made sure to say, well, what are the tools that are necessary and what are the skills? And we found some pretty interesting stuff. While there are obviously very important tools out there, Power BI, for example, is one of them, we found that most of these workers spend an enormous amount of time in various spreadsheets with all sorts of databases. It's not a tool-specific thing. And this is interesting for us because instead of saying, well, the vendors can take care of it, the software vendors can take care of it, it's not the case. It's people's minds that take care of data. And it's basically understanding that as we democratize data, as we understand what data is going on, there's a human element there. And it comes down to making good judgments. So yes, there's automation, there's artificial intelligence and machine learning that all add into this data life cycle, this data value chain. It's human beings knowing how to go about properly governing data. Governing meaning, has it been obtained securely? Can they go and normalize the data? And can they add information that is not going to prejudice things, but is going to remove bias and is going to basically make it so that information kind of springs to life? So instead of organizations just making guesses or personalities winning the debate, it becomes actual data that helps us. Today, in the kind of fourth industrial revolution that we're in, where data is everything and automation is everything, you could argue that data is the new oil. That's a cliche that's often used, and I think it's a pretty accurate statement. And what we need are workers that have the right skills to refine that data into information, to tease out accurate narratives. That's why we created Data Plus, so that basically instead of relying on any sort of vendor who wants to sell software or just organizations that come up with some pretty cool stuff but don't have a whole lot of data, we at CompTIA are capable of being truly data-driven because we have thousands and thousands of inputs. And we have the processes that make it possible to truly understand what it means to be a data analytics professional. Data Plus is designed to help people who are just starting out into the data world. It's something that is designed to help people as they move into being professional data analysts. And it's something that can help people along the way. It's a fantastic way for you to show your value and for people to show their value in the data-oriented workplace.